sounds fun anymore. Whatever happened to fun?
And just like crap, episode 8. Oh, you coughed, bitch, right in the middle of my important speech.
You are listening to the Drag Dungeon Podcast with your hosts, Jay and John.
Hey, welcome back to the broadcast, your favorite podcast. You asked for this shit if you're easily offended. We don't recommend it. You asked for this shit, so here it is.
And just like crap, episode 8. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered.
You. I'll tell you how I'm doing. Not well, bitch.
Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered. Yes, that definitely describes us, maybe. I don't know about the bewitched part, but...
You're not a witch anymore? Did you leave the cult?
No, I'm a www.fatwitch.com brownie company. And that's real, by the way.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
We're going to get there. But, whenever they plug something on the show, this is very valuable real estate. Whenever they plug something on here, it blows up. Even back in the 90s, it blew up. So, Magnolia Bakery, hello. So, let's talk about how do you feel about a sporadic gay rights rally? Just middle of the week, maybe a Wednesday around 9, 10 a.m., 10:30 in the park. A pop-up event. Do you like that?
Well, maybe. I mean, I kind of looked at it like this queer celebration because they had all these different, gender flags and all these different people. And by the way, I did not spot one drag race queen in there. So I'm like, did they run out of budget? Like they couldn't get I don't know. Who could they get? Alyssa Edwards couldn't come in and did a few shablams. Like they couldn't get anybody from Drag Race.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's
Hot Couture. Who sings Hot Couture?
Oh, Manila Luzon.
Manila
Luzon. Come out and introduce Che or something like that. But no, the pride here in Chicago was very during the day. Debbie Gibson was there, and this just crowd of sporadic, sad little crowd was there watching, and it started raining and blah blah. Yeah, it was very this. Actually, this had more people than the Chicago Pride. Oh yes.
Oh, embarrassing. Yeah, Manila was on Real Housewives of New York City for a moment. She had a little tiny bit part in that, but
yeah, those bitches show up every once in a while. You'll blink and you'll see, is that Jujubee over there with the plunger? They just show up.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing any paparazzi photos. This looks like it was again filmed in Central Park, so I didn't see any paparazzi photos of this. So I was a little surprised that they were able to pull this off. Of course, they did say it was raining. Maybe the paps don't go out on when it's raining. And maybe they just didn't care because this is an awful scene, right?
Yeah, and I don't understand, why they have to make everything look so contrived. You know what I mean? They've, I don't know, thrown some, empty food wrappers on the ground, some smashed French fries, some,
have some homeless people.
Homeless people. Make it real. Why is it just people standing around holding signs? It's like the fucking crowd in Evita. Evita, the when she's on the balcony,
Don't
it's
cry for me, Central Park.
Yeah, it's like that. It's clearly Perron, Che.
Well, you notice nobody is on their phone. Isn't that weird? When cell phones, sorry to sound old, but when the smartphone was invented, oh damn, we are old. When the smartphone was invented 10,000 years ago, when dinosaurs roamed the earth, everybody was all of a sudden recording everything. Nobody's at an event. If you didn't record it, if it's not on Instagram, it didn't happen. Nobody's on their phone here.
No, I don't understand why they live that. I mean, reality says people are going to be holding their phones up and recording and texting, and why aren't there more people leaving during it? What would really
I would have
happen?
been. You know, would have been great if that gay couple from the last episode with the toddler. I have a toddler. If they were seen leaving or throwing tomatoes or something.
Right, or the one rushes up on stage and grabs the mic. I have a toddler, and then just
I think that should be a recurring joke. I would like to see the toddler couple, the gay couple, in every episode. Yeah. So
that would be great.
Che is giving a speech to a bunch of people that don't care, just kind of shouting about, I'm gay. No, I'm not gay. I'm non-binary, and we're queer, and we're here. And I'm like, is that all? What's going on here? Because there's no sponsor. It's not sponsored by Peloton or Pepsi or Monster Energy drink or Cialis.
What's that vodka? that's always...
Belvedere or...
No.
Pearl?
There's the one that's Maybe. There's the one that Drag Race did too, like for a long time with Jeffrey Moran.
Oh,
Like,
Absolute.
Absolute. Like there was no Absolute cocktail. Like there were no food stamps. Like what was this? Was this a festival or was it just a pop-up performance? Like I don't know.
It's the Lilith Fair 2022.
It's the Lilith.
It's fallen a
It's
long
the
way.
Lilith Fair. I love Lilith Fair.
Who are those chicks that were there? The
Indigo Girls?
The Indigo Girls, they couldn't make it. They had to cancel because of the
love Indigo
rain.
Girls.
They can't get their hair
Because of
wet.
the rain.
So, the first thing I wrote down here, and I wrote it down because, and I'm not trying to shame people based on their looks, but that being said, let's shame Miranda on her looks. Her wig, I don't think we've seen these bitches in broad daylight before, except for maybe the picnic scene. But Miranda with sunlight beaming down on her face, I'm sorry, girl, that wig is so clockable, and your teeth, what? Didn't she look like her teeth were brown?
She's always looked like that, and I don't understand that choker. I mean, I wanted to.
Choker.
But I don't know why she-
Me too. I would love to choke her. And then she's creeping out of there because she sees Brady there with his girlfriend. And I'm like, why are they here? Now, I'm not saying that straight people aren't allies, but they're not just coming to some random ass rally.
Well, the thing is about that whole thing is, okay, so she made this worse. Like, why is she, like, sneaking off? Like, first of all, number one, she could have been there for any, like, supporting a friend. There's lots of reasons she wasn't. The only reason she was there was not because she was in a relationship with I almost said lesbian. She's not a lesbian. A non-binary person. Like, she was cheating on Steve. Like, that isn't the only reason that she would have been there. She could have said if she ran into him, oh, I'm supporting my friend, blah, blah. And also, they were like, oh, in the ally section. I'm like, is it because she wasn't in the ally section? Like, segregation never. Like,
No,
why
she
is
was
the
in-
allies in one section?
She was in the friends and lovers section, so she's a lover. So she was
Our
ashamed.
person she's been fucking for, what did she say?
3
The
weeks?
person I've been fucking for 3 weeks nonstop or whatever.
Miranda has no clue about how to cheat. Let me tell you about cheating, girl. No, I'm kidding. I'm not an expert
Yeah,
on cheating either.
she is terrible at it.
But so instead of being spotted and saying, "Oh, that's my friend Che Diaz who works with Carrie," she has the perfect.
That's all she had to do. That's all she had to do.
She has the perfect ruse to make up for the lie. You know, she's so dumb. But anyway, for a lawyer, she's awfully dumb.
She is, and she gets out of the crowd, and she's standing there. I'm like, so what? Her son can't walk to that side of the.
Yeah, none of
of
it
the
makes
cell-
sense.
Like there's like an invisible barrier that prevents him from coming over there. I don't know.
She's
what
like,
the hell.
activate lesbian force field. Tell me about. I was so distracted by Che's T-shirt because Miranda brings the iced coffee and Che is like smoking with somebody. A lot of people are still smoking. I find that vaping is more popular now, but okay, whatever. I'm not splitting hairs here. So Chase sees Miranda and comes over wearing the T-shirt that says "Angels have no gender but lots of sex." Thoughts on that T-shirt?
That's what it said. Like I watched it twice and I got distracted. I didn't even see what it said. But okay, angels have
No
What's it again?
gender. Angels have
No
no
gender.
gender but lots of sex.
lots of sex.
I think
That
it's
sounds like
dumb.
something from like Etsy or Redbubble. Like not like
Yeah.
a real like.
Or something
Yeah.
you get at like the Victoria's Secret outlet store.
Yeah, like she dug it out of a bin.
She's like, "Oh,
You're
this was a misprint."
Panty. Oh, look at this shirt.
Look at this non-binary friendly shirt. Like Che Diaz would ever be at Victoria's Secret. Let's be honest.
Well,
So Che is surprised to find out when Miranda's saying, "Oh, I didn't want my kid to see me here with a non-binary. How embarrassing!" And Che's like, "Now I have to preface this with we have been rough on Che, but I found her to have this was a slight redemption arc for Che in this moment because she's not the home-wrecking horror that we thought they were. They are, and they say, oh God, I'm really trying. They say to Miranda, 'You're not in an open marriage,' and she's actually getting. I can't stop. I'm sorry. Do you want to address this misgendering
okay,
thing?
so yeah, so with the misgendering, pronouns, like we appreciate different pronouns and completely understand the importance of them with people, and we are in no way trying to misgender somebody. It's just we have a certain pace with this kind of podcast, and if we stop every time we misgender somebody, it will be messy. So this is not intentional, and we appreciate everyone's pronouns. And so I just want to say that. So if we misgender someone, we're not misgendering someone. We're just running our mouths off.
Right, thank you. Yeah, you worded that perfectly, I think. And by the way, the actor that plays Che Diaz, I watched a little interview with her, and she says that her pronouns are she and they. So I feel like this is, and I'm making an effort here, but I can't stop, like you said, every time. So anyway, I'm just going to say she for convenience sake, but I'll do. Che says, you're not in an open marriage? I thought you were. And she's getting kind of teary in the eye because she's upset. And I thought, this is good. This is good. This feels real to me. What did you think about it?
Well, it sure did. But the thing that I thought is, I'm like, okay, so she's like, I thought you were in an open marriage. I'm like, did you have this conversation? Or did you just assume she was in an open marriage?
Miranda doesn't believe in conversations.
But why wouldn't Che ask? Like, okay, so I know you have a husband, so are you guys open?
She was
like,
knee deep in pussy. She didn't give a fuck.
I guess.
Do you stop and ask your dates?
But she shamed Miranda.
She did.
Like, shame on you. I mean, for shaming. I'm not shaming anybody. But if you're gonna shame, you're both in trouble. You know, not just Miranda. Miranda's just trying too hard and freaking out. And her, you know, she has stars in her eyes and all this stuff. And Che is just eating it up. And they're both, if there's a fault in that, it's both of them.
There should have been a conversation. But I think that... I mean, how many times have you asked to date? Are you currently married? Like, are you living with your wife right now? I mean, or husband? You know, how many, I shudder to think, not really, I don't care, but how many guys have I boned that have been married, you know, or with somebody else? But that's none of my business. I kind of have the Samantha Jones approach on this topic.
Well, they're kind of like sort of in some sort of relationship thing going on. And I'm thinking of the times that I've dated, if I've asked somebody if they were seeing someone, I think it kind of naturally came up probably in all the situations. Because, you know, we talked about this the last time. Like, people want to talk about their exes. Like, you, like, fight that off. Like, it's real easy to go in and be like, you know, especially if you were previously with someone a long time, your lives were so intertwined, it's really easy to be like, oh, we were watching The Price is Right the other day. Then you realize you're like, wait. I'm talking about my ex. Oh, no! You know, like, You kind of learn, I think, pretty quickly, at least in my experience.
Well, apparently they didn't get your memo because Miranda
did not.
They did not, because Miranda has not brought it up. Che didn't ask. It was a don't ask, don't tell situation.
Right, so just don't shame Miranda for, like, not saying anything when Che never asked.
Okay, fair enough. I want you to ask all your dates from now on if they're married, okay? Promise me.
Oh, I will. I will, like, make them sign a contract that they're not fucking married.
Sema and Carrie are walking into Carrie's apartment, too, and it looks like a department store. It's got racks and racks of clothes.
And Carrie walks in. Did you clock that music that was playing? It was, like, disenchanted Cinderella, like like Rites of Spring or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna see these like little birds like flying with the clothes in their beaks, like hanging them up. Like, it was like a real magical Disney moment.
I'm gonna say that I don't think the music is very plucky and fun on this series, because in the original series the music was a big part. I mean, they really led us. We were horses and they were leading us to water and making us drink. Because it was, I don't know if that made sense, but what I mean is they really told us, here's what you're supposed to feel. We're going to get you there. Just come on down. Come on. Just like The Price is Right. Come on down. Did you see the Wendy? I know you didn't, but Wendy Williams, when Drew Carey's ex-wife either killed herself or was murdered, I don't know which, so somebody correct me, but she fell off a balcony and died or something. And Wendy, who I believe was, in my opinion, for entertainment purposes only, allegedly under the influence during this show that I'm talking about, she was talking about this during Hot Topics. And you know, Drew hosts The Price is Right, so, and the woman fell off a balcony, and Wendy made this joke. She goes, Drew was there, but he didn't say, come on down. Like, she made a come on down joke about the bitch falling off a balcony. Oh, it was bad.
She was killed not by Drew, but by the ex. Come on down.
She got a lot of backlash for that. Anyway, I don't know how we're talking about The Price is Right, but that reminded me.
Did she say, why isn't anybody having fun anymore before it happened?
Whatever happened to fun?
Whatever happened to fun? Yeah.
I would like somebody to fall out of a window.
Drew Carey's wife. That's awesome.
So they're making some dumb banter about the Barney sample sale, and Carrie says, I bet you'd cut a bitch for some cashmere. And I didn't feel like that felt like her character, but whatever. Carrie pulls out this Versace dress, this famous or infamous, depending on how you look at it, Versace dress that cost, I think, 80 grand or something, 40 or 80 grand. And it was worn in the hotel room scene in the finale of the original series, season 6, I believe. She was sitting waiting for Alexander to come home from whatever he was doing, his art exhibit. She's wearing this huge dress. Did you like the dress?
Well, a couple of things. Like, did you see the dress she was holding first? It looked like lederhosen or something, like a peasant style.
Yeah.
Dress.
Yeah.
And it's funny that she was holding that with that like Disney princess music because it looked like Cinderella before she turned into the ball gown. So it was almost like she was holding the dress that Cinderella made, and then she pulls out the ball gown that Cinderella got magicked by the fairy godmother. Did you kind of get that?
I didn't get that, but now that you say it, now that you've said it, there were a lot of Cinderella references in the first movie. Like
there you go.
Charlotte's daughter. I think there's a Cinderella vibe going through, kind of trailing its way through both movies and even now. So good catch there. I didn't get it, but
I have to say the dress that she pulled out at first, I was like, what's that pile of rags? And then when she got color, the color's kind of dingy. So then she brings it out and I'm like, oh, okay. And then when Carrie says, oh, I sat over there and I ate a whole thing of Jiffy Pop. Like, I get that this is how the original series was. Carrie, like, represented this, like, I don't know, like, beautiful,
jilted
thin
girlfriend.
Yeah, and she's so naughty. She's eating a whole thing of Jiffy Pop. Like, I'm treating myself. Like with that one where she was like, where they went to the storage place, and she's like, I'm gonna treat myself to a pretzel. Like, she just has that, like, you know, like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like,
it's like an old trope. The woman that's sitting around waiting for a man, eating a whole thing. And by the way, the last episode, the publisher said she was eating a whole thing of Haagen-Dazs. It's a very overplayed storyline. Or
it's for us to go, me too, I do that. I treat myself to a pretzel.
I'm morbidly obese too, waiting for the right man. Aww.
I'm like, I eat so much shit. I'm like, when she's like, I'm so naughty.
Jiffy Pop?
A pretzel. I'm like, I made brownies today, and I'm like eating them. Like, I'm not like, I treated myself to a brownie.
I'm like, yeah, I inhaled a whole rotisserie chicken for breakfast, and I'm having a scotch for lunch. Like, what? Get on my level, bitch.
Right, what is this? Eating at these, like...
Jiffy Pop? That's
halls.
like something... That's a snack. Are you kidding me?
That is nothing.
That's nothing. Those aren't even real calories.
Part of a snack. Like, that's part one of... That's the first course in my snack.
Part of a snack. I like that. So I thought bringing out this old dress was another kind of moment. Like, you talked about her tutu. It was kind of phony nostalgia. It didn't really add to anything. It wasn't really fun for us. Nobody cared. They just wanted to give this dress another moment in the show to justify spending 80 grand on it. I think it was 80. When was the last time you spent 80 grand on clothes? Last year?
Earlier today, I was just on, like,
Lululemon. Lululemon, our favorite spot. Do you think they'll sponsor us after this?
Lululemon?
Lululemon, call us.
So. I've never been to Lululemon, but I've seen the clothes in the window, and, like, I don't know. They're very simple.
Well, it's just leggings, isn't it? Just leggings?
I'm not sure.
Maybe we can get Fashion Nova. What?
Or, yeah, like that, or Primark. Maybe
Primark. Drugstore. All-purpose drugs from Drag Race. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So Carrie tells Sema's trying to light up a cigarette like she just had an orgasm around all those clothes, which I don't feel is real because nobody in their right mind would light up a cigarette around couture.
No, they would not. Even though there's a lot of ugly stuff there, but anyway.
I did like, though, when Sema says, I woke up with a lit cigarette in my hand, and I'm like, I want to know more about that.
She is the best character.
She is.
Like, she is getting treated badly. Like, she should have more lines, more. She could even be, like, okay, so what if she were non-binary? Like, add some, like, depth to her. I want more. I
know. Well, that's not a social justice warrior issue at the moment. Nobody cares about straight Indian women in their 50s, apparently. But I do. We do.
Oh, I love her. I want her to have her own show and more depth, more story, all that. Don't just make her be there, like, agog at Carrie's rag dress. And, like,
she's underutilized. Why underutilize this character that we really are drawn to? This just shows to me that the writers have no fucking clue. And, okay. Carrie tells Sema that she is... Okay, so Carrie has cut back on the smoking. Because at first, the past few episodes, she's been full tilt, just smoking. Whenever she's around Sema, she's like, oh yeah, light me up. But Carrie says, I'm smoking 1 cigarette a day, walking around the block with full protection. She's wearing a human condom, gloves, a bonnet,
yes.
a dress. So, which I find
Some
realistic.
Kath and Kim right there with
Yeah.
like things smoking.
That is kind of common, people wearing gloves while they smoke, so whatever. And the new neighbor is downstairs. So Carrie looks out the window with Sema, and they see Carrie's kid. Now, I like this story about the young neighbor. I think this is cool. Do you like it?
Yeah, but it definitely makes Carrie look even older. She's got this whole get off my lawn thing going on.
Get
right
off
now
my
that's
lawn!
not attractive.
That's so funny. So, Sema's like, oh, her boyfriend's kind of hot. Now, the Samantha Jones, if she were here, she would have gone right downstairs, blown the neighbor, the guy, right? Oh, Samantha,
She
we miss
would've.
you.
Yeah.
So Carrie calls Bobby Lee. You know, one of my problems with, I want to move on, but I keep getting distracted by the Professor, Naya, Lisa Wexler, and Bobby Lee, and even Che Diaz, even though I don't care to see any more of them. One of the problems with this, I feel, is they're trying to make them happen. They're trying to make us care about them, but they're not putting them in every episode. So, like, in the last episode, 2 episodes ago, Professor Naya had lunch. Her and her husband had lunch, or dinner, I mean, with their friends. So we were kind of getting to know her. Now, this episode, nothing.
Right, and like to bring Bobby Lee back, like for a minute I was like, wait, who's that again? Like I forgot who it was for a second.
Because the podcast studio is gone. That's not even a story anymore. Carrie's zooming now. Whatever. Anyway, Carrie calls Bobby to say, and by the way, I hate this because Bobby Lee is not that much younger than Sarah Jessica Parker. And she's calling him for young, hip, cool advice on how to tell the neighbor to shut the fuck up. And he's so young and hip and cool with his girlfriend in their shitty apartment. I'm like, you should be doing better at this stage of life.
Well, and honestly, it seemed like this scene was one that could have been cut, like, period. Like, maybe it was like one of those where, like, Bobby Lee had a contract to do however much and be in however many scenes, so they filmed it. And I don't know, somebody said, no, let's leave it in when everyone else wanted to cut it. Like, it was not necessary.
Do you think this is one of those areas where they cut Chris Noth out?
And they put this in instead?
Yeah, because they said...
Maybe. I don't know. That's giving them some credit.
Well,
Like,
reportedly...
cut the episode, made it shorter.
Yeah, reportedly there were more scenes with Chris Noth that were going to be gone, like flashbacks throughout. And I don't know how great that would have been either. By the way, just want to say, how did you feel about all the chicks from Sex and the City, or And Just Like That, coming out, signing a joint statement against Chris Noth? Saying, we believe the victims. I'm like, wow, loyal much?
Well,
I know this is a sticky
I guess
situation.
I guess they had to do something. I'm like, they couldn't say nothing.
I
I don't know about as far as like their views and where they stand and have what they should have said, but they had to say something, I guess.
I think it's fucked up. I'm just going to say it. I think it's fucked up that they've worked with this man for 20-something years. And just to save face and look good on social media, they come out with a joint statement. They didn't have to say anything, I think.
I guess not.
But that's maybe the unpopular opinion.
Well, no, and they could have, like, you read about, like, people who, I mean, if you know somebody your whole life and say they never had this experience, they had no idea that it was going on, and Chris Noth had been nothing but, wonderful to them or whatever. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to come out and be like, I don't believe any of this, because that doesn't fly. But I don't know.
That's why I say nothing, because you can't come out and be and just, undermine somebody else's accusation. But I sure as hell wouldn't say, I mean, if somebody said that about you, I wouldn't say anything, because you never tried to rape me. Oh, I guess you never raped anybody. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say I believe her either, because you're my friend. I just think saying nothing is the better move. But Bobby Lee asked Carrie, we're back, guys. Bobby Lee asked Carrie, does she own a gun? Now I think this is funny. I love gunplay in my movie, my TV shows. And she's like, no, I don't own a gun. But I did think that was funny for him. They probably should have hired, Bobby Lee is very funny. They should have hired him to help write this bullshit.
I agree. He definitely would have breathed some life. They definitely need to hire some, like, actual comedians to write some of this if they really wanted it to be funny, not the tired old people who clearly don't know what comedy is. And you said something a while ago about why don't we have more of these like side characters, because the people who created the show have it up their ass that the show is about Carrie when it shouldn't be. Thank you. That's all.
I don't think there should be more side characters. I just mean if they're gonna
No, just
try
the
and
ones
make
that are there.
Yeah, if they're gonna give us scenes with Naya and her husband solo with another couple, then why am I not hearing about them at all in other episodes? The whole joy of the original story of the original show was we got to see 4 people dealing with similar or sometimes different things, in 1.5 hour. We got to see 4 perspectives on something in 1.5 hour. Now I'm like, am I going to see Naya this? Am I going to see Lisa Wexler in this episode? I don't know. So why do I care about her?
You said it kind of there, like 4 perspectives. Or without Samantha, there's no 4th original perspective, so they just didn't know how to fill the space.
Who knew? 4 is the magic number. Not with girl bands. It's usually 5. But anyway. Charlotte and Harry are in the bathroom. And I forget. I don't know. I forget what they were originally talking about, so I don't care. Who cares? But Charlotte gets. Oh, I know. Product placement. Charlotte's like, Harry, did you wear your Aura? I was waiting for the voice art. Your Aura smart ring from Amazon. I mean, it's total shameless product placement. She's like, did you wear your Aura Amazon ring to track your heart rate throughout the day? It's available at Amazon.com.
I didn't even know what that was. Like, I'm like, what the hell is that ring? I'm like, is this Lord of the Rings? I mean, Harry's a little Gollum-y, but I'm like, I didn't think this was Lord of the Rings. Like, is it a cock ring? Like, what is this? And then she's like down there, and I literally thought, while you're down there, like jokingly in my head, and then he says that, and I was like,
yeah,
disgusted.
Me too. Well,
hilarious.
Apparently, we're just as
I don't know.
Yeah, we're just as talented as the real writers, because that was my thought too. But I mean, how hacky to be like, well, while you're down there.
Yeah, no, what a big thing to say. While you're down there.
For the Aura ring available at Amazon. I think I'm doing a better job advertising it here. Would you like to advertise Aura? So Charlotte's on her knees.
Aura for when you're to use before oral. I don't know, something Aura. The Aura ring that leads to oral. I don't know. I'm trying to tie it into the scene.
I like it. Does it have spermicide built in that sprays on her face? Now,
oh wow.
Tell me what you thought about. Unfortunately, I don't think it was Harry's real cock, but it was a nice one. Did you like it?
I didn't even notice it, and I thought,
I didn't either. The first time I
didn't even see it. When she goes, his penis was out. I'm like, where? Then I'm like, oh, that's sad. I didn't see it.
Well, you'll have to go back. I'm sure you're going to rewatch this series a bunch of times, so you'll catch it at some point.
At some point.
Lily comes into the bathroom.
You did.
I did.
Gone Girl. The Gone Girl scene with Ben Affleck where he gets in the shower. How many times have you paused that?
Oh, many times.
Many times.
Many men. So, Lily comes in the bathroom and Charlotte slams the door in her face. Another physical comedy moment that I liked. I liked seeing Lily get hurt.
Yeah, that was fun. I liked it too. I like that. I like anything that makes Charlotte look a little bad because she tries so hard to look perfect and be perfect. So anytime something makes her look like a bitch or a fool, I'm in.
Now, do you think Charlotte's still good at sucking cock with her paralyzed jaw?
I don't know. It just depends on what she had done with her jaw. I mean, can't you surgically have something done to where, I don't know, it unhinges or something, or like
an anaconda?
Yeah.
She inhales Harry.
Yes. Is there something you could do? Maybe porn stars, maybe they do it. They're like, oh, I need to get rid of my gag reflex. I'm going to have surgery. Or I'm going to, isn't there something you can
throat
do?
numbing spray or something. Now, people really like it when you imitate Charlotte. Would you like to give us some sucking cock lingo or as Daffy Duck / Charlotte? I think they'd like that.
I don't know. What can we say?
I'm down on my knees. Come on. Play with me.
While you're down there. Oh, Harry, you want to suck it? Harry, suck it. Where is it? I don't even see it. Where's your penis, Harry? Let me check it for cancer. Bend over. Let me put my fingers up your ass. I'll check for colon cancer too, Harry.
I agree. I think you are her doppelganger vocally. Okay. So the downstairs neighbor at Carrie's back to Carrie's apartment. The downstairs neighbor comes and knocks on her door. Now Carrie's got a green face mask on. This I think is slightly funny. To look like the Wicked Witch, because Bobby Lee says they called their 30-year-old neighbor who complained the Wicked Witch of the West Side. Slightly funny.
My God, I didn't even get that till just now.
Yeah. Brilliant. So Carrie answers the door, and the downstairs neighbor is actually pretty lovely. She's like, I'm sorry that I was being loud on the stoop, and Carrie's like, thank you. So this was just another time we get to humiliate Carrie, which is always fun for us. And Carrie's like, oh, I write books. And I'm like, wow, we haven't heard you say that for a minute.
We all forgot. We didn't even know what you did anymore other than organize your clothes.
Now, as a vegan, I know this next scene is difficult, but the girls sit down for a takeout seafood. Who gets seafood for takeout, by the way? Seafood takeout. And Miranda tells everybody that she's going to tell Steve tonight that she wants a divorce. Like, she goes right for the divorce. No talk. Thoughts as a vegan?
As a vegan? No, I was like, what are they eating? Like, it was like weird. Miranda's plate was just like a red blob. Like, I didn't know what I was even looking at.
Seafood broil or something?
Yeah, I don't really have a comment on that. The scene was just more of the picnic scene in a different building. Except that, this time Charlotte wasn't like, what's wrong with you? She was a little bit
non-binary
more,
sex.
Well, a little bit more learning her lesson-y. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, Charlotte was a little less...
Well, she learned from the picnic scene that you just mentioned that she can't have a big reaction to anything Miranda says, which...
And that's great. Character growth. That's what we need to see, right? We need to see character growth. And there's a little bit right there. I'll give them that. Maybe
this is why I don't have a lot of friends, because I don't hold back like that, and I know you don't either. So we wouldn't be... I guess I'm not a Charlotte.
No, I would be like, what's wrong with you as well?
So they kind of just let that go. I'm like, Miranda telling you guys she wants a divorce from her husband of 20 years is kind of a big deal. I mean, I'm rounding up, okay? It wasn't exactly 20. I know people are going to freak out. I would have had a bigger reaction to that. I wouldn't have held back just because I was afraid of Miranda. Because, first of all, what's she going to do? Fuck her. Like, we've never seen her work throughout this whole show. She doesn't work anymore. What's she going to do, sue me?
Yeah, and then they talked about, Charlotte still blowing Harry, and Miranda couldn't get over it. And I'm like, I don't know if you know this, Miranda, but you were just finger fucked by 2 people in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And you're all like freaking because, I mean, what if you were blowing Steve still? Like, what if,
flicking
I don't know.
Che's bean. Yeah. This was another overplayed joke. I don't know if it was written this way or if she went with it, but you still blow Harry. The first 2 times, funny, fine. The last 2, no, it's too much. It's not that funny. And again, this is something Samantha would have been saying, but whatever. They all going to make up for her shortcomings. Carrie and Miranda are, again, there's a lot of scenes of them just going. You notice they go out to lunch with Charlotte and Sema, and then Carrie and Miranda team up and talk shit about everybody behind their back when they're walking home. This has happened 2 or 3 times now. And they stop in the Fat Witch, brownie shop to get brownies. Now, I'm not going to lie. I did want brownies after this.
I made brownies today. I wasn't joking. And it's probably because I watched that. And I'm like, I want brownies. And so I made some.
Well, don't be quiet. Don't tell them about the brownie. If you want to see that fucking brownie, subscribe at patreon.com.
Right. Drag Dungeon. I'll give you the recipe if you subscribe to Patreon.
And if you subscribe at the higher level, he'll put his finger in it.
But I'll give you a brownie tip, though. Like, so, if you make brownies and you like to put nuts in your brownies, if you like nuts. I love nuts in my brownies. Put them on the top, because then they don't get soggy. Because, when you make brownies sometimes and they have nuts in them, and they get a little soft. Put them on the top. If you like your nuts hard.
Hard nuts.
Hard nuts.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg for
the tip
for dessert recipes. If you want Jay's famous dessert recipes, subscribe at Patreon. Okay, I'm done. Patreon.com/DragDungeon. And Miranda's telling my only takeaway from the scene is Miranda saying to Carrie, "I want Che. I want Che." Again, them teeth are coming out. Now let me tell you, I know that
so desperate.
Cynthia Nixon has like a shift. Her palate and her mouth is kind of like tilted, so she's gonna cut like diagonal teeth or something. I've never hated on her for this, and I'm still not. But her teeth are distracting me, so I don't know what's going on.
Well, it makes me think of Alien when the little alien mouth comes out of the big alien's head.
Right after I say I'm not hating on it, and then you go full in. You go raw dogging in there.
I'll go there.
Oh, boy. Okay. Carrie gets home to her building and knocks on her downstairs.
No, wait. Hold on. Hold on. I think that Cynthia Nixon is very pretty. She
I
does
do
have
too.
weird. Her teeth are a little weird. So I'm not saying she looks like the alien from Alien. I'm just.
I think
anyway,
you can't put the stuff back in Pandora's box.
She's gorgeous. I love her.
I think they're all pretty. Even Charlotte, which a lot of people are hitting on Charlotte's looks. And I have to say, yes, she looks altered, but I still don't think she's ugly or bad looking at all.
No. And Miranda, they're kind of doing her wrong with her wigs. Like if she had her real hair and stuff, the other features that we're like judging on wouldn't be nearly as, I don't think, obvious. Like same with Carrie. Like Carrie's pretty, but then they make her wear her hair weird and snatch it back, and then suddenly we're like, oh.
Well, it looked better this episode, to be fair. It did look better. Down.
Yeah. Anyway,
so
carry on.
Props to you, Mama. So Carrie stops by her neighbor's downstairs apartment. Beautiful apartment, by the way. On her way home to give her the fat witch brownies, and the hot boyfriend comes out. By the way, this is the kind of hot, I think you might agree, that doesn't even appeal to me because it's almost too perfect, right? Like he's hot. He is hot. That's,
Yeah.
But it's almost like a doll. Like it's too perfect, so I'm not interested. But nobody cares what I'm interested in. Anyway, the guy drops his towel. We don't eat sugar. Drops his towel. We get to see his penis. That's 2 penises in one episode. That's pretty good.
Oh my God. Well, I really think this was a toss out to their gay audience. Like, let's give him a penis. Let's give him a dick, like.
Multiple dicks.
Well, specifically this one was very obvious. We didn't see Harry's. He was either too small or went too fast. I don't know. But this one was clear. And I was like a little
gratuitous.
Shocked when I saw it. And I was like, oh my God, I really want a veggie dog right now for some reason. I don't know why. And then I went and made one. It was like Kath and Kim's getting a Savoy, but it was a veggie dog,
Kath and Kim. What do they call it? Footy Franks. Yeah, Footy Franks. Footy Franks dipped in ketchup.
Savoy is like a kind of sausage, maybe. I don't know, but it made me want a veggie dog.
He is hot, though. Nice job, writers. You tried. You guys tried. I appreciate it. That's like a shout out to us. So Miranda is stalking Che at work. She's dressed in all black like a ninja with a little slit for her eyes. And she's... No, I'm kidding. But she's jumping around outside.
That scene.
You missed it. She's jumping around. She's waiting for Che outside work. Now, let me just tell you, stalking, always a great move when dating.
I mean, yes.
If I had
either do it yourself or find someone else to do it for you, whatever it takes.
Yeah, for sure. I think being scared is a real turn on. So if you're stalking me, if you're sniping me through a window somewhere, I'm so wet.
Me too. I love heavy breathing calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ASMR.
Have you seen the movie Black Christmas from the 70s where he's like screeching and making all these horrible sounds, and then there's like a pause and he goes, I'm going to kill you. I love that. That's so hot.
I'm rock hard. Rock hard at this point.
I need to excuse myself.
So, in a nutshell, I'm paraphrasing, but Miranda says to Che, Che's like still pissed that Miranda is married and not in an open relationship. And, by the way, Miranda is too dense to realize what Che is saying. Che said to her in the park earlier, if you're in an open relationship, meaning you're committed to someone else and just fucking around with me, I'm totally fine with that. Hello. That's all Che wants you for is sex. So Miranda goes and detonates a bomb on her marriage, and now she hasn't done that quite yet, but she goes to see, because Carrie says, do you know how Che feels about you? Because you're all into Che. Very nice to see Carrie caring about somebody else for once.
I know, right? And when they're in the, Che and Miranda are together, Miranda is so thirsty. Like, she definitely doesn't see. Thirsty. And, I kind of can understand, like, if you get into some sort of infatuation, because it's infatuation. I don't necessarily believe it's love. I've been in those situations. You do kind of forget everything that goes around you. When she meets Che, and Che's all, look at boy, to Miranda. And they have the conversation. You can just tell Miranda is going off the deep end. She is spiraling. This is all, a fixation, and whenever, we'll get to it when she going to go to Cleveland, it's just all going to implode.
Fucking Cleveland. Oh my God. Isn't that where the Drew Carey show took place, by the way? I think it is.
Hot in Cleveland?
God, that's a good show. R.I.P. Betty White.
Aww.
Oh, I got to tell you about Valerie Bertinelli later. On Patreon, we'll talk about it.
Ooh, okay.
Miranda. Okay, so Che says to Miranda, again, another red flag, I can't offer you anything traditional. As in cohabitating, being committed, monogamous. And Miranda is so sprung off Che that she's just like, it's fine. I don't want anything traditional. I want Che Diaz.
I'm telling you, from experience, when you get in these situations, all of this stuff is just lying to yourself. It's never going to work. She's been in a traditional relationship half of her life, and she thinks she's going to change like that and she's going to expect Che to do it, even though she says it's fine. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah, because you're just high on like dopamine or whatever chemical. Charlotte and Lily are at lunch. And Lily gets up to go get a fork. This is such a stupid scene, so I'm just going to glaze over it. But Charlotte looks at Lily's phone that has a push notification from Lily's Ho Instagram where she's posing in sexy tops. And it wasn't even sexy. It was just like clothes with her midriff showing. And Charlotte's horrified because somebody commented like, you're hot or something. Do you have anything to say about this, or should we keep going?
Well, I mean, I don't know. This whole thing, like, she's 15? So, I mean, you can't make so many jokes about that, but I don't know if it just shows how old and out of it Charlotte is. And Charlotte, the thing is, it's funny, is because she's like, oh, well, I don't whenever Lily supposedly saw, her and Steve playing hide the cannoli or whatever they were doing in the bathroom. And she was like, oh, I don't want her to feel about sex the way that I did. But then, Lily has this Instagram and Charlotte's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, okay.
Like, can she be?
Yeah,
can she be a hoe or not? Like, and that's not even being a hoe. It's just dressing cute. She was kind of pushing her butt out, but whatever. So Lily runs over to Carrie's house because that's, like the war room for personal crisis. She runs over to Carrie's house to help her sort through her clothes because Carrie's like, I need an assistant. And Charlotte calls Carrie and it's like, is Lily over there? It's like, yeah, she's sorting through my clothes. You can hear Carrie cracking the whip on her.
Right, back to work.
Back to work, you bitch. Fun fact, in one of the old episodes of is somebody Samantha was dating in the original series, this guy had like a servant living with him. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And she was jealous of Samantha, so she would the guy would leave for work and he'd be like, don't worry. I think her name was Ming or something. I'm probably getting that wrong. And the guy's like, don't worry, just stay in bed and relax. Ming will make you whatever you want for breakfast. So the servant would be sitting there smiling and the guy leaves for work and she goes, all right, lazy bones, get out of bed. She didn't laugh. I liked that story. And also on Desperate Housewives, they had a slave servant.
Which one?
It was Gabrielle's housekeeper, and then she had their baby.
Yes.
Always
What was her name?
Oh, I really don't know.
Was it Ming?
It might have been Ming.
That sounds familiar.
I might be mixing up my shows. So, Carrie is a hoarder, by the way. Why do you need that shit?
I don't know. Where'd the rest of her shit go? Didn't she live in a bigger apartment? And storage. I know, that whole storage scene where they pretended like they didn't know where anything was, though it was all marked. Yeah, gotcha.
So it's nighttime and Carrie wakes up to her downstairs neighbor, yet again, her loud music. And Carrie goes down there, breaks into her apartment, suffocates her, stuffs a sock in her mouth, duct tapes over it. No, that
pillow over her face.
It's just what
snuffs her out, steals all her clothes.
I mean, that's one way to solve the problem. I'm just saying.
I mean, anyone could have went in and murdered her.
Anybody.
Stupid girl. She left her door open.
Good luck proving that in a court of law. You think I'm leaving fingerprints? She's got the gloves.
She already has those rubber gloves.
Oh, God.
And that outfit she wears walking around the block, she looks like, have you seen Howl's Moving Castle, that Studio Ghibli movie, where the young girl gets turned old by, she's cursed by a witch? She looked like the old version of...
Did you call Sarah Jessica Parker a witch? That never even occurred to me. You're so rude. So Carrie, instead of just turning off the music, she's sorting through her mail, she's emptying her dishwasher, she's sniffing her panties. It's a lot of stuff.
Vacuuming. She's vacuuming, lifting up the furniture.
And they show, they show the girl's mail Carrie is just looking to see what her name is, but the boyfriend already said her name earlier. Now, I know Carrie doesn't care about anyone but herself, but come on. She said Lisette. I think her name's Lisette.
I hope something happens with this character, because so far nothing happened except for making Carrie look old. That's all that's happened.
I think that they should have introduced us to that neighbor earlier in the series, because I'm actually a little bit weirdly invested in this. More than Lisa or Naya. I think this is fun.
I want to know more. Yeah. Invite her to lunch.
Bring that bitch to lunch. No, Carrie would never bring a younger, attractive woman. So Carrie's walking around the block in her witch outfit, was smoking with the gloves, and runs into the neighbor. She's like, I'm not going to be that crazy neighbor. This is kind of cute and funny. But
it is kind of cute. And she goes, greetings, which is funny because that made her seem even older.
Straight out of Grey Gardens.
Grey Gardens, yes, the Grey Gardens look. So she was Grey Gardens / cursed girl from the Howl's Moving Castle. That's
Love it.
Such a great.
I mean, if we're gonna make these people old, let's make them real old. Okay. So Charlotte is talking to Lily in her bedroom about her hoe Instagram and about her trying to blow Harry because she wants to rectify things, no pun intended.
She just wants to just talk about it more. Like, let's talk about blowing Harry to Harry. Let's talk about blowing Harry to the girls at lunch. Let's talk about blowing Harry to my daughter. It's like, write it down.
You know what would have been
music. That's what mamas from Mama's Family used to say. Oh, set it to music.
Oh, I like that. Mama's Family. I need a palate cleanser after this. Maybe Mama's Family is it. But you know what would have been great in this scene, because she's again bringing up Harry's cock to her own daughter, is if Miranda peeked in the room and said, "You still blow Harry?" for the 5th time. That would have been perfect. You still... And Charlotte would been like, "Get out! How did you get in here?"
The phone rings. Ring. You still blow Harry?
That's going to be my standard.
Outside, there's a plane flying by with the sky written.
That's going to be my standard greeting from now on. I'm going to answer the phone and go, "You still blow Harry? Hi."
Who is this? How did you get this number? Oh, hi, Miranda.
You were receiving a collect call from Che. Okay, so now we get to the meat. This is kind of a lighter episode for the most part, and again, I think this was directed by Cynthia Nixon. Oh, God bless.
It was?
I think so. I saw a tweet from her. Instagram is convinced that I like this show, so they're pushing all that shit directly to my push notifications. You like Sex and the City? I'm like, no, I don't. I just talk about it. Leave me alone. Right. Anyway, Miranda goes to talk to Steve, who's watching the television, enjoying his retirement or whatever he does. Steve, can you put your hearing in? Steve!
What?
Put your fucking hearing aid in. I want to divorce you.
Right, oops.
What do you think of Steve's reaction?
Okay, so this is what I think. I really think if Cynthia Nixon directed this, and why I had that reaction when you said that, because I thought the pacing was a little bit off of this scene. Mm-hmm. They were talking way too fast. Like, and this is because I have a theater degree and I know about acting. You have to have pacing, and there has to be moments with it, especially an important scene like this. Like, people need to breathe. People need to think. Like, people need to consider what they're They need to consider what they're saying. Now, you don't do that for every sentence, but when you are having a discussion and you can tell people aren't thinking, they're just saying lines. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between, like, if I'm talking to you and I'm like, maybe we should consider looking at this, versus we should consider looking at this. Yeah, I think we should too. So I don't know why you're upset. You know, you have to have those, like, moments of thoughtfulness.
Ebbs and flows.
And that was missing.
Well, I mean, the writers, allegedly, in my opinion, for entertainment purposes only, hate straight white men. They're the enemy. Take them down. Take them out. Kill them. Give them heart attacks. Slit their wrists. Divorce them. Leave them out by the
Colon
trash.
cancer.
Dementia. Heart attacks. Pew, pew, pew. Fuck straight white men. You fucking pieces of shit.
Well, you know, I have to say is I felt bad for Steve. And also, I was annoyed with Steve. So let me tell you why. So I felt bad for him for obvious reasons. You know, Miranda wants to divorce him, and he's, like, content with his life. And you can tell he was sad about it, whatever. But I was also annoyed that I felt like he really wasn't trying. I mean, kind of trying to understand Miranda. But I don't know. Like, if he loved her so much, I don't know. I feel like maybe he would have had a little bit more of an intense reaction. Other than, oh, you want to divorce me? Well, things have been up and down, but they've been okay now. Like, I wanted him a little bit more like, Miranda, what is going on?
Yeah,
what is happening with you? Like, what is not here that you want? And you just keep saying more. Well, you need to give more specifics. Like, do we need to be, like, I don't know, having an open relationship officially? Do we need to be going to get a sling? Do we, do I need to dress up like a dog? Like, what do we need to do here? Like,
Miranda's a furry
something.
now. She's a furry. She wants to be a furry. And Steve's not willing to put on the costume. So, but well, they kind of, to what you're talking about, they kind of explained it. Because Steve was like, look, I've been fighting for you for 20 years and you're such a bitch and you have a dry pussy and I'm fucking over it.
That is not exactly, he needed to say that. He needed to say, you're
dry. You're all dry. You're so fucking dry. I can't ever. And again, another missed opportunity for actual, like a real conversation. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it needed more. It needed better pacing. People needed to stop and breathe. I needed to have some empathy for them, and I needed to root for each of them on both sides. Like, I would be like, yes, Miranda, you need more. You deserve more. Che seems like, they are making you happy at the moment. Oh, Steve, you deserve this marriage because you put so much work. You know what I mean? I wanted to root for each of them, even if it wasn't for them to stay together.
I mean, somebody needs to make a point. Somebody. One of you fucking make... I guess it's hard for Cynthia Nixon to direct herself, but if I would have been there, I'd have been like, can one of you make a fucking argument for why the marriage should stay together or not? Because I'm not hearing any of it. You're making very vague points here. I wouldn't even call them points. But whatever. This may be the most expedited, quickest breakup in the show's history. So yes, I feel like they missed an opportunity for sure.
Yeah, it definitely was too fast. Like, there's other shows that I've experienced, like, breakups like they just neatly wrapped up. Like, oh, they set me free. Yay, let's move on. Like, you've been married for how long, and this is really how your marriage ended? I think so I'm just speaking, never mind, I won't say that. I'm going to say, like, just the fact that a relationship would end so cleanly, even if someone wants out of it, it just seems so, like, way too easy.
I do respect Steve a little bit. Now, in my hopes and dreams, the thing with Che is not going to work out. So Miranda comes back because
it's not.
They're just trying to turn Miranda into Cynthia Nixon, which is weird. That's a weird choice for an actor, which a lot of people pointed out. She's a stage actor. She's done a lot of theater. She's done whatever. Well, I'm not seeing any of that here, but I kind of like that Steve is like, you know what, bitch? I'm so sick of your shit anyway. Like, all you do is bring me my ice cream every night. Like, your pussy's dry. Steve will get somebody else, okay? But will Miranda? Because the thing with Che is not going to work out. So in my dream, they get back together. But I actually want better for Steve now.
Well, there's a whole thing of people getting in relationships and being in them so long to where, and someone said this to me once, and I'm like, that makes perfect sense, of a couple both wanting, what did they say? Hold on, give me a sec. They were both wanted to be in a relationship, just a different kind of relationship, or they were in a relationship that the type of relationship they both were in, they didn't want to be in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, gay men are experts at spinning that shit.
Well, right. Well, it actually wasn't a gay man who told me that. It was like a woman who was like she was my boss at the time, like, who I was talking to about. So I mean, like, it was like not. And the way that she said it to me was like, wow, you're both in a relationship and a type of relationship you don't want to be in. So you do have to make decisions for yourself. I mean, Miranda heading to Che, no, we know that's not going to work. It's nothing. None of this shit ever works out. But for Steve, right? I think Steve totally could get somebody else.
Yeah,
he's
for
so
sure.
Cute.
He is cute.
He's so cute, and his voice is nice and deep and raspy. Like,
I think a deaf man would be the perfect match for you.
For me, that's so that's such a sweet thing to say. I think a blind one would be great for you.
Oh, touche. Okay, you got me. Okay, so Miranda gets in the cab because she's like, I'm going to Cleveland. And she calls Carrie and she's like, I broke Steve's heart. She's got a smile ear to ear. Them fucking wooden teeth coming out. I broke Steve's heart, and I'm on my way to Cleveland. I'm on my way to Cleveland. I'm in a rom-com, Carrie, and even Carrie, who is no stranger to delusion, is like, you can see the subtext is, bitch, you are fucking crazy. But she's like, okay, where are you going? Thoughts?
Well, it just comes down to what we've talked about before. All these bitches have done stupid shit and shit like this before, so how could they judge each other? It's like, you're like being impulsive and going to Cleveland to find love, what's wrong with you? Like, how could they say that with all the shit that they've done in their lives?
Yeah, because
you know?
Carrie cheated on John Corbett. What was his name?
Oh,
in the show? Aiden.
Oh, God.
She cheated on Aiden with Big back in the day, and Miranda and Charlotte, everybody was judging her for that, except Samantha, of course.
So I keep thinking about something that you said about we were talking about Golden Palace and when Dorothy left. And then when Dorothy left, they made sort of Dorothy's like characteristics and put them, like spread them out with the people that were left. And they really, I agree with that they did that with this. Like they took Samantha's, you know, her personality and sort of like, now Charlotte's talking about blowing Harry. And now, you know, like they definitely seem like they're spread
trying
that out between. Don't you think?
Yeah, I do. They're trying to, but it's not sufficient. I mean, Samantha is greater. I mean, they can try and divide her characteristics into 3 other actresses, and still nobody is Samantha. Nobody's Kim Cattrall.
Nope, never will be. Nope.
So that's it for the episode. We only have, I think, 2 episodes left of this piece of junk. I know, but we're going to listen to that in Writer's Room podcast. I can't wait to hear them try and defend this. You want to listen to the first one?
I'll totally listen to it. I want to hear it too, and I just have this feeling we're just going to be laughing all the way through it and hearing people try to justify the bullshit they come up with. I don't know. And I hope they come up with stories to back up with what they're saying instead of, oh, we just thought it would be funny if they puked all over each other. Instead of like, you know, if they just said that instead of like had purpose to it and explained why and not just because they thought it would be funny, because that's annoying.
It is. Oh, I want to add this because I think it's funny. It didn't really bother me, but somebody's like, I don't think these queens did any research. Did you see that comment that somebody left? I don't think these queens. First of all, I'm not a drag queen, and Jay is an aspiring, tiptoeing around it. He has interest, but I'm not a drag queen, so we're not 2 drag queens. But somebody's like, they didn't do research on this show, and I'm like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. You think I'm doing research on this pile of crap? I don't even care about this show. It sucks. You think I'm spending my free time doing research? No, it's an opinion. Okay, I'm just saying that. So we'll be back next week. You want to say something about that?
Well, right. I mean, we definitely, you know, with the show, like we're taking it not only based on, you know, Sex in the City in the past, as also what's happening now, what we're seeing now, what the reactions of the people now. Because you also look at this like, are these characters true to the past? And also, how are they, as so much time has passed, how are they now? I mean, it's like a whole thing. It's not like we're going to be quoting every single episode of Sex in the City the entire time we're watching these episodes. It's not that kind of thing. We're not recapping all of Sex in the City. We're recapping the show.
And I don't think did you do your research is a great reason for somebody to discount your feelings about an episode. Like, I shouldn't have to do research to enjoy a TV show. Did I ever do research about the Golden Girls? You know, when I originally watched it? Maybe now because it's so damn good. But no, I've watched Sex and the City, the whole series and movies, multiple times. If that's not enough, then count me out.
Well, I'll just have to count you out.
Count me out, bitch. So we'll be back next week for episode 9.
We'll be back.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
You asked for this.